The greatest love stories are about choosing love when it would be far easier to hate or move on. That said, the truth is that when a relationship challenges you and a partner isn't willing to grow with you, it can turn into a disaster that it's healthier to walk away from rather than remain devoted. But sometimes, if you truly have the right person by your side, facing the trials of love can be the deepest personal joy you'll ever experience. In this video, I'm going to use one of the most profound love stories in Greek mythology, the story of Eros and Psyche, to show you that real love requires more than passion, compatibility, and attraction. It requires trust, resilience, and the courage to face the unknown within yourself. But their tale isn't just about romantic love. It's about something far more profound. It's about the union of the soul and the body. The story of Eros and Psyche teaches you that as you face the difficult reflections offered to you by a partner, you not only invite more safety, unity, and peace within the connection, you also find union within yourself. Eros and Psyche's journey is a blueprint for integrating love, trust, and divine connection in your own life. Through the character's story, you'll uncover what it means to commit to love, not just in relationships, but in the sacred union of mind, body, and soul. Hi, my name is Aaran Solh, and I'm the founder of Alchemy. I'm a relationship coach and spiritual counselor, and for the past 25 years, I've been helping people like you connect better to themselves and to others. You can check the description for more info and for the lists of reflection questions and action steps that I mention later on in this video. Now, let's dive into the story of Eros and Psyche and find out how to have the deepest relationships possible. In Greek mythology, Eros is the god of love. He is the son of Aphrodite, the goddess of sexual love and beauty. Psyche, on the other hand, was a mortal woman, but whose beauty and power was so extraordinary that people began to worship her instead of Aphrodite. Jealous of Psyche's beauty, Aphrodite sent her son Eros, armed with his famous arrows that make people fall in love, to cause Psyche to fall in love with the ugliest creature on earth. However, when Eros saw Psyche, he was so stunned by her that he accidentally pricked himself with his own arrow and fell deeply in love. Unable to carry out his mother's orders, Eros instead brought Psyche to a hidden palace, where he visited her every night. His visits, however, had one condition. Psyche was never to look at his face. For a while, Psyche lived in bliss and in love with this mysterious stranger. But her curiosity and eventual suspicions led her to break Eros' request. One night, she lit a lamp and looked at him as he slept, discovering his beauty. But when she did that, a drop of hot oil from the lamp fell on Eros, waking him. Feeling betrayed, Eros fled, leaving Psyche alone and heartbroken. Now, already, you might be thinking that you understand part of the metaphor of this story. How at first couples tend to live in the honeymoon phase of a relationship, as if they're living high up in a mysterious palace in the clouds, in love, but not truly seeing each other. What's interesting to note is that many relationships fail as the honeymoon phase fades. And just like Psyche, who wanted to see the true face of Eros, often one partner wants to go deeper to truly see where the relationship can go. And sometimes, just like Eros, the other partner flees in fear of facing true love. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's finish the story, because it does actually have a happy ending. So Eros fled, and Psyche, desperate to find him and win back his love, turned to Aphrodite for help. The goddess, impressed by Psyche's devotion, decided to test her and see if she was truly worthy of her son. So she set Psyche on a series of nearly impossible tasks. But Psyche, with each challenge, faced her deepest fears and proved herself worthy. First, Psyche was tasked with sorting a huge pile of mixed seeds. Overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, she was aided by a colony of ants who pitied her and helped her complete it. This first task is a metaphor showing us the trials of love and relationship. The first trial is about the importance of persistence and keeping your physical reality in order. But we'll go over the full symbolism of the tasks later on and talk about their importance for understanding romantic love as well as inner union. Next, for the second task, Psyche was instructed to collect wool from dangerous golden fleeced sheep. Luckily, a reed by the river advised her to wait until the sheep were resting and then gather the wool caught on the bushes. Psyche thus avoided danger and accomplished her task through wisdom and patience instead of force. In the third task, Aphrodite demanded that Psyche bring her water from the river Styx, which was guarded by dragons. Psyche despaired, but Zeus, the king of the gods, saw her and sent an eagle to help. The eagle, which represents having a higher perspective, swooped down, evaded the dragons, and retrieved the water for Psyche. The final task was the most dangerous. Psyche had to descend into the underworld and ask Persephone, the queen of the dead, to place some of her beauty in a box. Psyche believed that death was the only way to enter the underworld, so she climbed the tower, willing to jump off of it to accomplish the task. Fortunately, the tower spoke to her and gave her guidance on entering the underworld without having to die. Psyche managed to obtain the box from Persephone, but curiosity and insecurity led her to open it, hoping to take some of the beauty for herself. Instead, what she found in the box was a death-like sleep, and she fell unconscious. Meanwhile, Eros, embarrassed after fleeing, had been searching for Psyche and eventually found her in the state of deep unconsciousness. Moved by her devotion and the trials she had endured, his love for her overcame his fear. Eros kissed her, reviving her from the death-like sleep, finally surrendering to the power of her love. After Eros and Psyche were reunited, he was so moved by her unwavering love and the trials she had endured that he decided to take her to Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. Eros pleaded with Zeus to allow Psyche to become immortal so they could be together for eternity. Zeus, impressed by Psyche's devotion and the depth of their love, granted Eros his request. He made her immortal and elevated her to the status of a goddess. Blessed by the gods, Psyche and Eros eventually had a daughter named Hedone. In ancient Greece, the name Hedone means pleasure and bliss. So the birth of Hedone symbolizes the ultimate fulfillment of the union between Eros, who represents the love of the soul, and Psyche, who represents the love of the manifest physical body-mind. It expresses that facing the trials of love is more than worth the effort and can lead to the deepest possible experience of joy in this life and to profound happiness and spiritual fulfillment. Now, before we dive even deeper into the lessons of Eros and Psyche, take a minute to reflect on a moment in your life when you felt the vulnerability of being truly seen in love, as Eros did when he was gazed upon by Psyche in their palace. How did the experience challenge or deepen your connection with yourself and the other person? Can you sense how the journey of Eros and Psyche has played out in your relationships? When the video is done, you can check out the description for these questions. And before we go deeper, please take a minute to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people. The story of Eros and Psyche is a powerful metaphor for the journey from immature, superficial love to mature, enduring, and empowered love. At the beginning of their relationship, Eros forbids Psyche from seeing his face, a request that can be interpreted in multiple ways. At the beginning of every relationship, there is often a tendency for individuals to hide parts of themselves, presenting a degree of mystery or pretending to be more perfect than they truly are. This behavior sometimes stems from a fear of rejection, the worry that if the other person sees our true selves, flaws and all, they might turn away. This fear leads to a facade of perfection, where both partners may withhold their vulnerabilities in an attempt to secure the other's love. In the case of Eros and Psyche, this dynamic is symbolized by Eros' insistence that Psyche never look at his face. This secrecy can be seen as Eros' fear of revealing his true self, his flaws, his vulnerabilities, and perhaps even his shame about his past behavior as a mischievous trickster. We all carry some shame about our past, and it's scary to show that to someone we love and who we want to love us back. But true love requires courage, the courage to see and be seen fully, without the masks of perfection. Relationships that don't get past the initial stage of putting on a facade either end in breakups or worse. The people involved end up living in unfulfilling and fear-based relationships. And it is the same when applying this lesson to the process of inner union. But we'll cover that in the next section. When Eros pricks himself with his own arrow and falls in love with Psyche, he is forced to experience the vulnerability and complexity of love. This marks the beginning of his transformation. He is no longer the carefree, mischievous god who plays with the hearts of others. Instead, he becomes someone who deeply loves another with all the risks, vulnerability, and challenges that this entails. His journey is from an immature type of playboy to a devoted man committed to love. Psyche's decision to look at Eros, despite his warnings, is driven not by willful disobedience, but by genuine love. In this sense, her act is not a betrayal, but an expression of her desire to see and love Eros fully, including the parts of him he may be ashamed of. This act of love triggers fear in Eros, causing him to flee. However, it is through Psyche's love and what seems like a betrayal that Eros is ultimately able to confront his past and grow, leading to their eventual divine union. When considering this story as a metaphor for the union of the soul and the body, we can understand that when the body-mind, our feeling, sensing, and thinking selves, comes into contact with the higher spiritual power of the soul, a deep healing takes place. We'll get deeper into this aspect of the story later on. For now, take a minute to reflect on this question. Was there ever a time when you felt the need to hide parts of yourself in a relationship? How did this secrecy impact your connection, and what fears were driving you to keep those aspects hidden? Psyche's journey to win back Eros is filled with challenges set to her by the goddess of love, Aphrodite, each representing a step in her growth and maturity. As an interesting aside, these 4 tasks also correspond to various levels of initiation in the Western mystery schools. But that's a topic for another video. For now, let's focus on the tasks and what they teach us about relationships and inner union. In the first task, Psyche had to sort a huge pile of mixed seeds by dawn. This task represents the need for patience and diligence in love, as well as the ability to bring order to chaos. Psyche was helped by ants who pitied her and completed the task with her. This can also be interpreted as the need for community support in relationships. Just as Psyche relied on the help of the ants, we too must recognize the importance of community, friends, and family in helping us navigate the complexities of love and relationships. No relationship exists in a vacuum, and the support of others is crucial in maintaining and nurturing a healthy partnership. In the second task, Psyche was instructed to collect wool from dangerous golden-fleeced sheep. This task symbolizes having courage and the ability to approach difficult situations with wisdom. A reed advised Psyche to wait until the sheep were resting and then gather the wool from the bushes, avoiding confrontation. The reed represents wisdom. Reeds are both flexible and strong. They can bend without breaking. This symbolizes the need for finding middle ground in relationships, and doing so with wisdom, not by attacking or forcing situations. In relationships, we often encounter difficult situations where a forceful approach might seem tempting, but true wisdom lies in knowing when to be flexible, when to wait, and how to approach challenges without creating unnecessary conflict. In the third task, Aphrodite demanded that Psyche bring her water from the river Styx, guarded by fierce dragons. Psyche was overwhelmed by the task, but Zeus, the king of the gods, observing her plight, sent an eagle to assist her. The eagle flew to the river, evaded the dragons, and retrieved the water for Psyche. This task represents the need to face one's deepest fears. The dragons symbolize a person's internal power and ferocity, a piece of the shadow self that must be confronted and integrated. The dragons represent the raw, untamed energy within us, the anger, desire, and the primal instincts that can be both destructive and protective. So it's through the power of the eagle, which represents having a higher perspective, that Psyche is able to complete this task. It has the ability to see things from a great distance, but also to focus on the smallest details, connecting heaven and earth. The eagle's perspective allows you to transmute the deep power of the dragon within yourself into the power of compassion and love. In relationships, this is when a person learns not to succumb to anger, passive aggression, or gaslighting in confrontation, but instead uses their power to truly see from all perspectives, resolving emotion with clarity and understanding. The water that Psyche fetches symbolizes emotion, and the act of fetching it represents the resolution, healing, and integration of the shadow emotions. In the fourth task, Psyche was to descend into the underworld and ask Persephone, the queen of the dead, to place some of her beauty into a box. Overwhelmed by the seeming impossibility of the task, Psyche considered ending her life by throwing herself off a tower, believing that death was the only way to enter the underworld. However, at that critical moment, the tower she stood on spoke to her, offering detailed guidance on how to complete the task and return safely. The tower's intervention represents not only divine or higher guidance, but also Psyche's inner strength, her resolve, and the ascension of her consciousness. This ascent symbolizes her gaining a higher perspective and spiritual insight, enabling her to approach the task with wisdom and clarity. Psyche followed the tower's instructions, descending into the underworld and successfully receiving the box from Persephone. However, overcome by curiosity and perhaps insecurity, she decided to open the box, hoping to take some of that beauty for herself. Instead, she found that the box contained a death-like sleep, and she fell unconscious. This journey into the underworld represents embracing death as an integral part of life, a concept that the tower's guidance helps Psyche understand on a deeper level. The tower's role in her journey symbolizes the need for spiritual ascension and the ability to see beyond immediate fears. It teaches Psyche that passion, resolve, and a willingness to face death in order to find union are essential to facing life's darkest challenges. It is through the acceptance of death, facilitated by the wisdom gained from ascending the spiritual tower, that a person can truly live and love. When one fully acknowledges the inevitability of death, life and the transience of the relationships within it becomes so much more precious and beautiful. A person who truly embraces death can also truly embrace life, shining with a beauty that comes from deep wisdom and appreciation for the present moment. The moment of opening the box and falling into a death-like sleep reflects the profound lesson that it is in surrendering everything that we finally find true love. Eros, who had been searching for Psyche after fleeing from his own sense of betrayal and shame, eventually found her in this state of deep unconsciousness. Moved by Psyche's full surrender and commitment, Eros, filled with an overwhelming love and appreciation, kissed her, reviving her from the death-like sleep. This act also brought healing to Eros. Witnessing Psyche's devotion and the lengths she had gone to prove her love enabled Eros to forgive himself for his past misdeeds and immaturity. Her unwavering love helped him reconcile with his own sense of shame, allowing him to fully embrace his true nature as a mature God of love. With this newfound sense of self-acceptance and maturity, Eros was ready to face their future together, not just as lovers, but as equals, God and Goddess, united in a love that was both divine and eternal. Beyond the interpretation of Eros and Psyche's story as a romantic relationship, the myth can also be seen as a profound journey of self-love and inner unity. In this interpretation, Psyche represents the body-mind, the entire psyche, the self-awareness that exists within physical reality. Eros in this story symbolizes the higher self or soul, the eternal part of the self that is connected to divine love. Eros, as the higher self, is naturally in love with Psyche, the manifest aspect of itself within the physical world. This love is unconditional and divine, representing the conscious self's eternal connection to the divine love within. The secret palace, where Eros and Psyche meet, represents the choice of the body-mind, or the manifest self, to go deeper within and experience the secret palace within oneself. This palace is a place of inner stillness and quietude, a sacred space where one can connect with the higher self and invite in the divine love that Eros represents. It is within this deep, tranquil place that the love affair between the body-mind, represented by Psyche, and the higher self, represented by Eros, can truly begin to unfold. When Psyche looks upon Eros' face, it symbolizes the initial spark of spiritual awakening. This moment is often described by those on a spiritual path as a peak experience, where a profound sense of divine love and connection floods the individual's consciousness. This awakening brings feelings of elation, transcendence, and an overwhelming sense of connection to something greater than oneself. However, this vision of the divine is not the end of the journey. It's only the beginning. After this initial awakening, Psyche must undergo a series of trials that represent the process of embodying the divine love and wisdom she encountered into her personality and daily life. These trials, requiring patience, courage, and the embracing of the shadow, symbolize the necessary steps to integrate the higher self with the physical self. It is through these challenges that Psyche learns to embody the qualities of a mature, whole being, transforming herself into a queen and goddess in her own right. In this interpretation, Psyche represents the feminine aspect of the self, the body-mind, that navigates the physical world, while Eros represents the masculine aspect, the eternal, single-pointed, unconditional love of the divine. The union of Eros and Psyche at the end of the story symbolizes the harmonious integration of these two aspects within oneself. It is the balance of the masculine and feminine, the spiritual and the physical, that leads to true self-realization and inner unity. The final union between Eros and Psyche, blessed by Zeus, symbolizes the ultimate realization of the self, where the body-mind and the higher self are fully integrated, and the individual experiences true self-love and inner peace. This union is further highlighted by the birth of their daughter Hedone, whose name means pleasure and bliss. Hedone represents the natural outcome of this harmonious union, embodying the deep contentment and joy that arises when one's inner and outer worlds are aligned. The bliss symbolized by Hedone is not a fleeting emotion, but a state of being that results from the successful integration of all aspects of the self. Hedone's name reflects the profound joy and fulfillment that comes from the integration of the body-mind, Psyche, with the higher self, Eros. This state of bliss is not merely the absence of pain, but a deep, abiding sense of peace and contentment that arises when one's inner and outer worlds are in harmony. Hedone, as the offspring of Eros and Psyche, symbolizes the reward of this work, the joy that naturally flows when we align our actions with our higher purpose and embrace both the challenges and pleasures of life. The story of Eros and Psyche offers a powerful metaphor for personal growth and spiritual awakening. It reminds you that the trials and challenges you face in life aren't just obstacles, but essential steps in your journey toward self-realization. By embracing these challenges and staying true to your inner love and higher purpose, you can achieve the ultimate union of body, mind, and soul, and experience the divine love that resides within you. Now, I know that doing this kind of inner work, especially in relationship, can be difficult. So if you need support, please get in touch. I'd love to help. And before we move on to some additional insights and action steps you can take a moment to consider your own journey of self-love and inner unity. Ask yourself, what trials or challenges have helped you integrate different aspects of yourself? And how have these experiences brought you closer to a sense of wholeness and inner union? While the myth of Eros and Psyche is often seen as a journey of self-love and inner unity, it also reveals how deep relationships can be powerful mirrors for personal growth. When two people committed to self-realization come together, their love becomes a crucible for transformation. Intimate relationships reflect not only our strengths, but also our hidden wounds. Like Psyche's trials, these challenges call us to grow. In a conscious partnership, love isn't just about support. It's about being willing to face discomfort and lovingly call each other forward. Over time, such relationships help each partner balance their inner masculine and feminine energies, deepening their connection both to themselves and each other. Just as Eros and Psyche represent divine opposites coming into union, human love can guide us toward inner harmony. When we are willing to face the disharmony within ourselves and our partners, as well as with friends and family. Relationships offer a profound space for healing. Psyche's final trial, carrying the beauty of the underworld, symbolizes our confrontation with shame, anger, and past pain. When met with unconditional love, these shadows can dissolve, revealing our most beautiful selves underneath. Like Eros' kiss awakening Psyche, love can rouse us from our numbness, bringing buried parts of ourselves into the light. In this way, love becomes a sacred path, a place where we don't just find comfort, but where we awaken. When both partners walk that path with intention, their union becomes a vessel of divine love, guiding them toward wholeness and bliss. Now, before moving into the final chapter of this video, take a moment and consider how your relationships have acted as mirrors. What have they revealed about your strengths and the places where you need growth? And how has that shaped who you are today? Both Eros and Psyche experience moments where their deep-seated insecurities and fears of being truly seen and loved come to the surface. Shame and insecurity can manifest in various ways in relationships, often leading to a reluctance to fully receive love or be vulnerable. Here are some common signs to watch out for. 1. Fear of vulnerability. Avoiding deep emotional connections or shying away from situations where you might be fully seen by your partner, fearing judgment or rejection. 2. Running away from conflict. Escaping from difficult conversations or relationship challenges instead of facing them, often due to a fear of being exposed or criticized. 3. Difficulty accepting compliments or love. Struggling to believe or accept genuine expressions of love, affection, or compliments from your partner, often dismissing or deflecting them. 4. Perfectionism. Believing that you must be perfect or present a flawless image to be worthy of love, leading to constant self-criticism and the pressure to hide your true self. 5. Insecurity in relationships. Frequently feeling unworthy of your partner's love or doubting their affection, leading to jealousy, possessiveness, or a need for constant reassurance. 6. Self-sabotage. Engaging in behaviors that undermine your relationship, such as pushing your partner away, testing their loyalty, or creating distance, often out of a belief that you don't truly deserve love. 7. Fear of being truly known. Avoiding deep emotional intimacy or keeping parts of yourself hidden from your partner, fearing that if they truly knew you, they wouldn't love you. Shame and the inability to receive love often stem from early life experiences and deep-seated beliefs about oneself. Here are some common reasons why these issues might arise in relationships. 1. Early childhood experiences. Experiences of rejection, criticism, or neglect in childhood can lead to a deep-seated belief that you are not worthy of love, creating a fear of being truly seen. 2. Cultural and societal expectations. Cultural or societal pressures to meet certain standards of beauty, success, or behavior can contribute to feelings of inadequacy and shame, making it difficult to accept love as you are. 3. Past traumas. Traumatic experiences, such as betrayal or abandonment in previous relationships, can create a fear of vulnerability and a reluctance to fully trust or receive love. 4. Low self-esteem. A lack of self-worth can lead to a belief that you are not deserving of love, causing you to push it away or sabotage your relationships. 5. Fear of rejection. The fear of being rejected or abandoned can drive a person to avoid deep emotional connections or to keep their true self hidden from their partner. 6. Internalized perfectionism. The belief that you must be perfect to be loved can create a constant fear of failure or exposure, leading to a reluctance to be vulnerable in relationships. 7. Guilt over past behavior. Feelings of guilt over past behavior, whether toward others or your current partner, can foster a sense of unworthiness, making it difficult to receive love or believe that you deserve forgiveness and affection. As we close this lesson on Eros and Psyche, I'll offer you 3 powerful action steps to help you deepen your integration. If you'd like more options, a list of reflection prompts and action steps is in the description below. I also strongly encourage you to practice the guided meditation for this lesson to help transformation take root at the unconscious symbolic levels of your mind. The practice is pre-recorded and available in this playlist and linked to in the description below. The visualization will support you in embodying inner union and developing trust in your own journey. Now here are the 3 action steps you can take this week. 1. Reveal a hidden aspect of yourself. In your current romantic relationship or other family and friend connections, consciously choose to reveal a part of yourself that you typically keep hidden. Notice how this affects the dynamic of your relationship and your own feeling of vulnerability and connection. 2. Create a secret palace within. Dedicate time each day to sit quietly and connect with your inner self. Visualize a secret palace within you, a place of deep stillness and love. Use this place as a refuge and a place to connect with your higher self, just as Psyche met Eros in their hidden palace. 3. Face a dragon. Identify a situation in your relationship or personal life where you've been avoiding confrontation or where anger has been simmering. Approach this situation with the perspective of the eagle, seeing both the bigger picture and the finer details. Work toward resolving the issue with compassion and understanding. Now take a moment to honor the transformation you've begun by engaging with this lesson. You've explored how the story of Eros and Psyche reveals the deeper path of love. Not just romantic love, but the sacred process of inner union. Like Psyche, you are learning that love is not always instant and easy. It requires courage, dedication, and the willingness to face your inner fears and trials. But as you stay devoted to your own growth, something beautiful begins to take root. A wholeness that includes all parts of you, and a love that is rooted in your soul. Now before you go, remember to check out the description for the lists of questions and action steps, and if you resonate, please like the video and subscribe. It helps us reach more people. Thank you.